Come on. Yay! I'm live. Whew, it worked. It worked. Say hi as you come in. Come in and let me know. Let me know where you're. Let me. I was washing dishes. I was splattering water. I was trying to rush. I knew my live was here, but I thought, oh, well, I'm making a cup of coffee for my live. That I might as well get the dishes done too, right? And then I can get right into my regular post for my Instagram after my live. And yeah, I have to concentrate. I can't watch videos. I want to watch videos in the evening, right? And if I don't have my post ready, then I have this thing where I can't do that. I can't go and watch my videos, right? So I've been trying to get my videos done this afternoon, but it just that I was getting the word, and then I wasn't getting any ideas for the topic. And yeah, and then I started I started watching videos. Yeah. I went out grocery shopping with my sisters this afternoon. Was that? Yeah, this afternoon I went out and we went and got a few. Hi, Kim. Yeah, we went and got a few groceries this afternoon. And yeah, I like that store. It didn't make me as nervous as some of the other stores that I've been going, the grocery stores that I've been going to, right? The procedures about going into the store were the same, but yeah, for some reason the atmosphere just seemed a little bit comfortable. I guess because you see the staff with all the colorful face masks and stuff, right? So when you go into the grocery store and you don't see any of the staff wearing face masks, it makes you nervous, right? Because it's policy, right? Otherwise, you would see a face mask here and there. But I went to yesterday. Yeah, I stopped off at to get some coffee mate at Safeway yesterday, and yeah, I saw some face masks yesterday, so I was really pleased. So I saw some girls outside, so I was talking to them about it, right? And yeah, they said they just got the word that they were allowed to wear their face masks if they wanted to, right? Which is the way it should have always been. It should have been an option, right? Understand they don't want to cause panic, right? They don't want people to panic, over because that's what's going on now, right? They wouldn't be opening up the country if they didn't think that emotionally people need to have that little bit of feeling of normalcy, even though it's not normal. None of this going on is normal, right? Yeah. And if you have those masks, and you're going to see too, right? Those masks are not going to do you any good, right? You're going to start seeing those surgical masks, but you're going to see them. They're going to start being gray and dingy, and you're going to see like broken elastic bands and food stains or cigarette stains on them, right? So, those masks are only meant for one use, right? They're not like, oh, that's your daily mask, and leave it at the front door before you leave the house, right? Because that's how you're going to get sick, and that's how you're going to get other people sick, right? You're much better off to make I lost my mask, right? I made a mask for myself, a good one too, and I lost it. But I hope whoever finds it gets some use out of it, right? Because it's a great mask. It's a homemade mask. I did a really good job on it. I double stitched it really, really tight, right? So all you have to do is take a bar of soap and go, right? And then rinse it out and hang it up, and then it's all dry for the next day, right? So I hope whoever finds it, get some great use out of it. And yeah, so I've got to make a mask for myself. But the gentleman downstairs that lives in the floor underneath me, right? He works with special needs children, right? Children that have problems and stuff, right? So he's getting a mask too. So I've got to make that one, and then I promised my caretaker one, right? And I still have another sister and her family. Well, I already talked to her niece, my nieces and stuff, and they didn't want masks. But yeah, I'm sure my sister will will want a mask. So when I go to pick up her carpet, right, because I'm going to clean her carpet, then when I pick up her carpet, maybe I'll drop off a face mask for her, right? But what about restaurants? Jobs are going to be, my sister, I got in the car today. She just went off on me right away. Get out there, find a job. Where are you looking? Everybody's hiring. And like, I just like, oh, like I instantly went into panic when she was going off on me because I'm not following the news or anything. Like I knew the country was going back into business tomorrow. But yeah, after a couple of minutes, I'm thinking, yeah, like number one, I'm certain like most restaurants are not going to be opening. It's just going to be all skip the dishes, right? It'll all be skip the dishes. And those jobs are going to be like in high demand. Like I'm going to be competing with all those. Yeah. So I got to compete in my own category, which is this, right? Right. So maybe I can find maybe a few businesses, that'll pay me, $500 a month or something to run their brands, right? Make their poster in the day and use my creativity, right? And drum up some business for them, right? Yeah. So there's going to be so many people out there looking for work, but at the same time, people are going to be really, really stressed out, right? They're going to be, like even me, I don't want to be going back out to work on this one. Like this is my life. Like, do I want to sacrifice my life for a job? Like seriously, like go to work for somebody and risk my life, right? Like I've got to think like, like I have a responsibility to put a roof over my head and I can't expect, the government to pay to keep me going. But at the same time, like, are you serious? Like this is the point that we've gotten to, right? In society that we have to put our lives in danger in order to keep a roof over our heads. I mean, like we could all become like Jeremiah Johnsons and run off to the bush, right? And start our own colonies, right? Not pay taxes, make survival camps, like I'm one of those people that truly believe that everything that is in my life, right? There's a reason why everything comes into my life, right? Why I've had the experiences I had in my life. Like, I think it's like a puzzle. It all kinds to pieces together, right? So, what if like this week, me looking up like different plants to eat, for harvesting when you go for walks in the forest and stuff, like what's edible, what are good medicines, what plants are good for medicines and what they're used for. And I'm jotting and I'm making notes and stuff. And I think, oh, really? Like there's things that I need to be studying, right? Like, this, the emotions and family problems and stuff like these are, these are the things I should be studying. And here I am studying medicinal uses of plants, wild plants and ones that you can eat and stuff. Like it was interesting to find out blackberries, right? How good blackberries are for you. I'm going to start buying blackberries more. I love blackberries. Oh, if I can make custard and put blackberries on the custard, I like that. Or my yogurt with blackberries, I like that. And I like blackberry jam. I can maybe make a diet spread or something. Maybe I need to learn to can. Maybe I'm supposed to be, all these things that I'm studying, and doing my fort when I go out to the fort and my bushcraft and stuff like that. Like maybe we're going into the day and the age and I needed to learn how to survive, right? Right? Like I needed those skills, how to build a fort. I never asked my sister today if I could borrow the car so I could go out to the fort, right? I would really like to put some work into that fort this summer. If I'm going to be spending time on my own, then I think for some fun and for some grounding for me, to get outside, I think I would like to go and spend some time out on Ray's land there. He's got the bottle dump. I can dig. I can take my metal detector and play around and see if there's anything in that old yard, right? And I can work on the fort, right? Even last night, like I knew where there was a half oil drum, so I went to go get it. I was going to put it on the handlebars and just be really careful, maybe even walk the bike home, right? with that thing because I would want to fall over on the bike and then have the sharp edges of the barrel like take my head off, right, when I fell off the bike. But I went and they've got the barrel was still there, but they went and they moved it into their garbage area that they've got roped off, right? So I didn't want to go in there and take it just in case they were going to use it for something, right? But it was sitting out in the field, and I think they just pulled it into the garbage area just so that it was out of their way. But I'll be by there sometime this week, I'm sure, when that work crew is there, and I'll ask one of the guys if I can have it, right? That would make the perfect fireplace for me, right? That would make the perfect fireplace for me. There's a drum out there, but it's not cut, right? And I need to have it. I need to have it cut. Mind you, I guess I can go by the neighbors, right? There's a neighbor out there that maybe, I'm sure he's got like something in his tool shed or something that can maybe split that barrel in half for me, right? So then I can turn it into a fireplace, right? Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do this summer. Right? It doesn't cost any money except for gas. It gives me my outing. It gives me content for my YouTube channel. It'll give me content for my YouTube channel. It'll be lots of fun, right? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then just, try and get a job that'll give me a little bit extra so that I can get the car back on the road, right? I miss not having a car, but at the same time, there's a reason why I don't have the car right now, right? Why, my sister took the car, but there are lots of reasons that it could, it doesn't mean that the reason that I assumed that it was the actual reason for it, right? So yeah, I got some exercise. I had the bike. I got some exercise on it too, right? Of course, if I had the car, I'd be driving around out there, right? Maybe spreading germs, maybe getting the cold. You don't know what. Yeah, in the bank, that would be weird, right? But we're in those days now, right? It's adapt and conquer. Like, don't care what you look like, don't care, don't care what people say to you, right? Like now they're telling people they're not going to let people into the grocery stores without a face mask on, right? You know, like I've been telling people, don't listen to them. If they say don't wear face masks, don't listen to them. Like get those face masks on. I said that right from the beginning, right? Yeah. And now there's big jumps too in the graphs for the virus. Like, yeah, like please let's not open up the country. Let's hold on. We can do it. We can another 2 weeks, right? Will we be in any better situation in 2 weeks if we start easing into business now? Would it make such a difference? Like lots of business can't open and lots of businesses won't open. Like what would be the point of opening and hiring employees and stuff if you're not going to have anybody walk in through those doors, right? The only ones really that will be doing well are like the Home Depot stores, right? They'll be doing really well because people will be wanting to do home projects around the house and do their gardenings and stuff, right? There'll be a lot of gardening. Walmart will do really well because you can kill all the birds with one stone, right? You can get everything you need by just going into one store, and their aisles are very wide, so you can keep a good distance from everyone. So you can do your groceries, you can do your automotive, you can do your home renovation, you can do your car, you can do it all in the same spot, right? Everything except grab a cup of coffee, right? And there's the drive-through. You can go through the drive-through on the way home and you can get a cup of coffee, right? Like we need to make sure that the pace of this flu is at a good pace, right? So that everybody has a chance to get the medical care that they deserve, right? Like everybody deserves to be here, right? And it's just not the older people that are passing away, it's the younger people too, right? And there's sad stories. And as we bump into more people who got the flu and hear those sad stories, then that's when you're going to take it serious. But if you don't, if what if it's not for another week? How far along, how much spreading could we do, right? Just because we were impatient. We were worried about the money, right? Yeah. Never. None of this. See, like I'm on all my platforms. I'm not making any money on this or anything. That's not to say that I won't in the future, but at this moment I'm not, right? And I've been doing this for years and years and years, right? If this was about money, I would have quit this a long time ago, right? And yeah, so yeah, you got to think twice, right? This is your life. You got to watch out for numero uno, right? And each one of you is a numero uno. Yeah. Yeah, but you'll see it. You'll start seeing people with the dirty masks, right? And those are the people you're going to just have to stay away from them. Like, oh, right? Right? That for sure, they're just walking into it. Like, even on the bikes, you got to stay quite a different distance away from people on your bicycles, too, right? Because they can cough into the air and then you could ride your bike right into that cough, right? Yeah. But Owen's here. It was Owen's birthday, everybody, this week. Yeah. I won't say how old he is, but yeah, happy birthday, Owen. I hope you had an enjoyable birthday. Did you at least get a cake? Did you get a cake for your birthday, Owen? I was never one for celebrating my birthdays, right? My sister always made sure that we always got a birthday celebration, whether we wanted it or not, right? But I never ever cared. In the past couple of years, her health is deteriorated a little bit and stuff. So, she doesn't mind having those days off. Sometimes we'll just go to a movie or something, right? But when it came to birthdays, I was never big on birthdays, right? I did get good birthday parties. Oh yeah. And because my birthday was at the end of October, right? My dad we used to let me have these Halloween parties out in the backyard, right? And it was the only time of the year that I was popular, right? Because my dad always threw the best. He was very creative, my dad too, right? He used to make these green candy apples, and he would make green popcorn balls, right? You can't give them to the kids now, but in my day, right? Like lots of people made homemade stuff to give to the kids for Halloween, apples and stuff. Like, those are things now that just get thrown straight into the trash, right? Nobody even would think to let the kids have those kind of things, right? But yeah, but there were those stories, me growing up. Like my mom and dad had to go through all our candy, right? Before we were allowed to have our bags back. We used pillowcases, right? And we'd fill those pillowcases up, ooh, 2 or 3 times at least, right? At least. Yeah. Mm. And then we would trade, because each of us liked certain candies, right? And of course, we all liked the chocolate bars, but there were other candies and stuff that they didn't like. Because I used to like those Halloween caramels. Like nobody liked those Halloween caramels, but I liked those Halloween caramels, right? And wagon wheels, yeah. And I always liked the wagon wheels. What were your favorite candies for Halloween? Yeah, here we are talking about Halloween, right? I don't know how I got talking about the holidays anyway, but about the birthdays, right? Yeah, not being big on birthdays, but I hope Owen had a good birthday. I hope he had. Oh, good. 59. Oh, we're the same age, Andrew. I guess you're a few months older than I am. You're a few months older than I am, Andrew. Yeah, I'll be 59. I'll be 59 in October. I can't believe that, right? Like I didn't even go start my social media, come on social media until I was 53 years old. I decided I was going to be a social media superstar. And then yeah, and it's just curious the path that I took, right? And where I'm at right now is just it's amazing. It's absolutely yeah, it's actually wondrous is what it is, right? I just love it. I'm grateful. Yeah. I have, it's not always, a bed of roses, most of the time you're broke, but then those little things happen that make, like going off with my sister for, an hour or so today, how nice that was, right? Or my sister gave me $20. So if I want to go off and get myself a Tim Hortons coffee or something during the course of the week, I can do that. Or if I do have to go off and apply or interview for a position, then I have some bus fare, right? Like you always get by, right? No matter what, you're still here tomorrow. And that's how I figure it, right? You're still here tomorrow. Rosemary's Baby. I remember that movie. I like that movie too, right? Yeah, I don't remember her name. She was married to Woody Allen, wasn't she? Faye, no, I had it almost. It was just on my tip there. Faye something? Faye something? Not Faye Dunaway, but Faye something? Mia Farrow. See, I knew there was an F. Cover my bases. I knew it all along. Yeah, Mia Farrow. Ah, William's here too. Awesome. Awesome. How's your week going, Andrew? Or William, how's your week going? And how are the cases in your neighborhood? Have you been hearing about the flu getting around in your neighborhood? Have you heard has anybody heard about the flus going on in their neighborhood? Yeah, because that's something like, I've only heard of one person that I know of, right? And I don't know them personally, but I did hear that they got the flu. And here in Manitoba, we have six deaths, I think. Six, that's a lot, right? That's a lot, considering that there's less than 40 cases now in Manitoba, right? Like, we're doing really, really good. Keep it going, right? And right over the whole country and right over the whole continent and right over the whole world. Just imagine you're just putting it in a sandwich bag and you're blowing in the disinfectant and the medicine and going shh. Yeah, open it up, let the world know it's all nice and disinfected and there's no more virus. Yeah, you just use your imagination, just take care of it that way, right? Oh, well, that's good to hear, especially when you're so close to New York and you're so close to Ontario, right? And you saw the cases going on there, right? I just couldn't believe. Like, it's like 6% in India. I was looking today. It's like 6% deaths, right? They don't have a lot of cases. They don't have a lot of deaths. But when you look at the percentages, right? Same with the states, the percentages are really, really high, right? Here in Canada, percentages are a little bit above too, but that's because it's in our old folks' homes. It's got in there, and the seniors have all got this flu running rampant around in there, right? So yeah, hard to say what's going to go on. I would just like to see this thing just disappear, right? Like have this flu just disappear from the earth, right? Not to resurface, but at the same time, right? Get ready so that when this happens again, right? This was a little scare, right? This was a little scare. It was enough to make us nervous and not totally, end of the world stuff, but enough to make us nervous and be careful, right? So yes, we've learned our lesson. Let's get rid of this thing now. Let's get it back to a little bit of normalcy, but at the same time, find a solution for when it happens again, because we know it will, right? Yeah, like I see the mayor. He comes on YouTube like every morning, like global news and stuff like that. But I haven't been going in to watch them. Right? They don't come in on like they make you wait for like a half an hour, right? When they say that they're going to start the live, and in a half an hour, I can get a couple of lessons in, right? Like I can get stuff done. I can get the laundry done in the bathroom sink, or I can, wash or sweep the floor, right? I swept the floor, but I still have to wash it tonight. It's because it's spring, right? I've got my bike, so I'm bringing my bike in and out of the house, right? So it does make things, the gravel and stuff. And I want to make sure that the caretaker doesn't have a lot of extra work and stuff. But I haven't been bumping into my neighbors. Just my one neighbor downstairs just coming up just to check on me to make sure that I'm not purple and bloating and oozing onto my living room floor, right? So it's nice that he checked on me, right? And it's important. It's important, like you have people. If you live by yourself, that you have some kind of system going on, that somebody can check in on you. Like, if you don't hear from me in 3 days, give me a call, right? Or knock on my door. If you don't hear from me in 3 days, maybe you have a neighbor that you can pass a key on to, that that you can trust, and just say, hey, if you don't hear from me, can you just pop in and check on me, right? You were saying, William, you were saying that within your congregation that there has been, right? From the flu, William, has it been from the flu? Yeah, let me know. But yeah, I know you were saying you were, and I haven't been hearing from you too. So I know that you've got lots going on, right? When I don't get those texts in the morning, like I know you've got lots going on. But as long as every couple of days, right? Every couple of days, you just check in and just say, hey, Cindy, I'm still kicking, right? Oh, see, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that, William, right? That's heartbreaking, especially within the church like that, right? Like that's family that hurts the pastor's family, that hurts the whole congregation, right? Oh, really, Andrew? You became friends with your, oh, I love that. I love that, Andrew. That's amazing. That's amazing. Like good enough friends that when the coronavirus and everything is over, like you guys can go off and go for coffees or go for a walk in the park or something, right? Yeah. That would be interesting, if I could find somebody, right, that had the same interests as me. Like, my topic is not so far off. I mean, I just, people who want to better themselves intellectually, right? Now that I know that what I'm doing is philosophy, right? Like I didn't know that what I was doing. I thought, like I understand a lot of it is going to be like life stuff and working in the emotional part of it and stuff, right? But I didn't realize that it's all based on philosophy, and I didn't realize that. I wasn't even quite sure what philosophy was, right? Mind you, when I talked to my nephew and I saw he had very philosophical ideas, right? And so I knew there was a possibility that I was going that route. But I'm so layman, right? Like I'm so layman, and I want to keep it that way, right? I don't want to go really crazy deep where people just don't relate, right? I want to be a master communicator, right? I think that's my talent. I think that's my talent. Is Kathy here too? Oh, yay, Kathy's here. Awesome. But yeah, you're 100% right, Andrew, that we should have systems, right? Like even if we live on our own, even if we don't have friends, right? We have to have a system. Like my sisters know, if they don't hear from me in 3 days, they're to call me. Like I'm not stupid that I'm going to go do something myself. Like I would never do anything like that. But you don't know, like what if I have a heart attack, or what if for whatever reason, I go to sleep at night and I just don't wake up in the morning? Like these things happen, right? I told her to leave me at the hospital, not to claim the body. I said, just leave me there. I don't want a funeral, memorial. By the time you get that stuff all sorted out, I'm back already, right? So, well, maybe not back already, but well onto my way, right? Oh, good, good. Oh, William, you guys are getting all beaten up over there. I hope you're taking care of yourself emotionally, William. How do you feel emotionally? Are you feeling like you're holding up okay, William? Yeah, I would like to know, because this is the perfect spot, right? To get that extra little boost if the next few weeks that, it might be just starting now, right? But I bet you would think a whole lot different now about this whole situation than what you did a couple of weeks ago, right, William? Right? You know, you took that extra care on your goddaughter's birthday and everything, right? Like you might not have done that otherwise, right? Yeah, I'm sorry it sounds like you're doing lots of work, but you know what, William? I know you're great support for everybody, right? Right? You just went through all of that yourself, right? So you can relate to help to people, right? When they're going through it, like you're able to sit with them and you know exactly what they're going through, right? You know that hole, you know how that pain feels, right, William? So yeah, I bet you're just a pillar, right? And you just be yourself, right? You don't have to take charge. You don't have to pretend like you know everything, right? You just go in there and you just be the person that you are, and God's just going to work through you however he works through you, right, William? Yeah, he'll figure it out. You just got to be willing just to walk into it. That's all, right? And that's the same with any of us, right? And that's how you just keep moving forward. You just got to be willing just to keep moving forward, right? Even if it's just like an inch, an inch, an inch, an inch, right? Yeah, it's but you know what? Try not to pay, like, it's important to pay attention because you want to stay safe, right? But try and add some things into your personal life that will help to take your mind off of it, right? If you can find little things in your life. Let me just fix this camera here. It's just a little bit. Oh, but then I don't see that. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It works, right? It works. Like this is 2 times in a row now that it hasn't gone off on me. So maybe we're back in business with this camera. That would be good, right? Yeah. And then maybe I could get a position where I can still work at home and make my money, right? And then I don't have to go outside until this is all over, right? I can't see it. The Spanish flu was 18 months and then it just disappeared. It disappeared, right? We're in technology, and yes, we have ways of we're more connected, physically than we were in the late 19 or early 1900s, right? Where there's more of us, we're taking airplanes, we're on buses with each other. Like these were things that weren't around, that gathered people together. So that causes the germs. But at the same time, it was all those men coming back from the First World War, right? That brought the flu home with them, right? So yeah, the best thing you could do is just try not to let it get to you, right? Yeah. And try not to get any colds at all, because even if you get just a regular cold, right? If you get a regular cold, if you got that regular cold, you did something wrong, right? For you to get it. That means you just need to buckle down just even harder to make sure that you don't get that flu, right? My palm. Oh, you can always, do you read palms? There's my palm. You can freeze that. You can freeze that, right? And then you can get back to me and you can tell me all about myself. There you go. You could just freeze that and get back to me and tell me all about myself. Or is it the left hand that you're supposed to do? I'll give you my left hand too. There's my left hand. You can read that one too. Yeah, those things are in my background, because I feel, a pull to those things, right? But it's I think for the life that I live right now, right? I think I would just like to dive into the mind, right? This being able to be on the internet and to be able to gather like just gobs and gobs of information just at your fingertips. Anything I want to learn, right? Like, what was I learning today? I was learning about complex trauma and all the different types of trauma, right? There's all different types of trauma. And there was actually, I was doing child abuse too. Like there's six different types of child abuse. I could remember a few of them, but there was a couple that I didn't consider, and I went, "Oh, yes, you're right. That would have to be in its own. That would have to be in its own category, right? Because there's neglect, there's your physical abuse, there's your emotional abuse, there's the shaming, there's the guilting, and the gaslighting, right? And gaslighting is when they want to uh, change your natural traits, right? They want you to be a certain way, and they force you physically, emotionally. They try and break you down until you become the person that they expect you to be, right? They go in for the kill, to kill you emotionally, right? And yeah, if you're really unlucky, they'll hurt you so bad physically that will last a lifetime, right? Send Nancy best wishes if you have a second there, because she might not be participating in the chit chat, right? But she's laying there, and she's either taking a nap and resting, which is probably a good thing. And if not, then she probably needs a nice little prayer. So, Andrew, you want to throw one of those out for Nancy? That would be terrific. Oh, do you know, that sounds like narcissism to me, Andrew? Yeah, there's quite a bit of narcissism like around in my family too, right? But me and all my sisters, we're all empaths, right? We attract those kind of people into our lives, right? My mother and my father had that dynamic in their marriage, right? And the rage and the discipline, and yeah, the things that narcissists say to you, right? To make you feel bad about yourself. And then if you're overly sensitive to start with, right? Sometimes you'll grab onto those things that those people say about you, or the things are the way they treat you and stuff. And then you'll go and you'll treat yourself and say those same things about yourself, right? And then that's what gets you on the path of the complex traumas. You're self-sabotaging and you're self-loathing, right? And that comes from the narcissistic parent, right? But some of us are very, very lucky, right? Because sometimes you get that dynamic where you have the very strict, very aggressive parent on one side. Then on the other side, you have the balance of that, right? Where you will get that love and you will get that understanding and you will get that nurturing and good influence, right? So if you're lucky, you have a good balance, and you find that in the household, right? In my day, when you grew up with your mom and dad, your dad was usually the disciplinarian in the family. That was your dad's castle. That was his house, his rules that you lived under, right? And unfortunately, if you don't believe in those rules, you didn't really have a choice, because otherwise you wouldn't even have a roof over your head unless you followed those rules. And then afterwards, after you do it for a while, it becomes imprinted in you. And then you just take it as fact that this is the way life is. This is what I can expect for myself, right? And then what happens? You end up like me in your 50s, finally figuring it out, everything that happened to you. You go, holy cow. And then you scramble, right? Get on the gerbil wheel and you scramble to make up for what was taken away from you, right? And you can never recoup it, right? You can never recoup what you've lost, right? And there's no point in really dwelling on it, because what it is what it is. It happened, right? But at the same time, it's good to study, right? It's good to study because you could help somebody else out, right? So you'll recognize somebody else going through something that you went through, right? And if you recognize that in that person, then maybe you might have that answer, so that that maybe they can bite the problem, that problem in the butt, right? And you do a little bit of good along the way. And that was kind of like, what I was kind of like hoping to do, right? Because I've gone through a lot of experiences. I've been that zero for over 50 years, right? For over 50 years, I was that zero, scapegoated my whole life, and then having all those insecurities, and then self-sabotaging and the bullying and the abuse, I messed myself up, right? After a while, you just take it up, and then nothing that anybody could do to you could possibly even be even close as bad as what you were ending up doing to yourself, right? It'll take a lifetime for me to fix some of that, right? And the funny thing is, I didn't even realize, I didn't even know that I had those problems until I actually, kind of looked at them and went, holy crap, right? It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, right? Yeah, my way or the highway, right? My way or the highway. Yeah, and it's hard, right? When you get into that dynamic of the narcissism, right? Because being empaths, you want to help people, and then you spot these people and you go, oh, I can help them, right? Because being empaths, you can clearly see what the problem is, right? And then you go in there and you go, okay, I'm gonna fix this, right? But the thing is, most of the time, even though it's damaging, right? Like they're causing so much damage, it's such a chemical thing, right? It's like somebody having it's like a tug of war. It's like a tug of war. You have the narcissist on one end and you have the empath on the other one, but the empath has got their hands crazy glued to the rope, and you're trying to get them off of the rope, and that other person is tugging away, right? You can't get them away. It's chemical, right? It's really, really hard once you get, eventually it breaks down. Eventually it always breaks down. But then again, it gets damaging again, because what happens is the narcissist will play games with you, right? They'll play mental games. They'll guilt you out, or they'll love bomb you, or or they'll give underlining threats in their conversations, right? Nothing that comes right out and say anything, but something obviously that you can catch the tone, right? That you can catch it, right? Like, yeah, they only care, but the only way to deal with the narcissist, right? The only way to deal with the narcissist is to ignore the narcissist, right? Is to just not give them the time of not to give them the time of day, because that's what they want. They want your undivided attention and obedience, right? They need you to say, yes, they are right. Yes, they're the all-knowing, right? Right? And you're only there for them to suck your energy, right? They only care about zapping you of every ounce, a little bit of energy that you have, right? But in your brain, you think, oh, I can save them, right? I can fix them, right? That it's the painful life that they went through, because, it's the same pain they go through as what empaths go through. It's just the way they deal with it, right? They shut themselves off so hard that the only way that they can move on is to control, right? So that's why you find lots of times empaths also will wonder if they're narcissists, right? Because empaths have narcissistic tendencies, because it's built into their self-protection, right? When you're self-protecting, you will bring up these tendencies, but the reason that the only difference will be is that the empath will feel guilty, right? They'll feel the emotions about it, right? They'll know what they're doing. They'll know that they're hiding behind a mask, right? They know they're not being true to themselves. A narcissist will feel like they are being 100% true, and they'll think they're 100% right, and it's my way or the highway, and they're never ever wrong. So the only way to deal with a narcissist is to ignore them, is not to give them the time of day, because that's what they want, right? You come home tired from work, they're going to come at you about their terrible day at work, and they're not even going to be interested in what you're going through, right? And they're just going to suck all your energy out of you, and they're going to make you feel like poop, right? Because the way they feel good about themselves is by making other people feel bad about themselves, right? And yeah, it's not a fun situation, right? Like I said, I've never been in that relationship. Technically you can say I have been in, because I had to adjust my own relationships with these people, right? Because, one was a family member, and the other one is a family member too, just not blood, right? And then with my friends too, they're good friends, right? So you can't help but see it, but at least I can leave it, right? When you're married to it, or you're going out with it, right? Like, you live with it. That person has an opportunity to destroy you, right? And they're not intentionally. They know what they're doing. Oh, they know 100% they're doing, but it's not with intent. They think they're doing it for your best good. And if you were listening to them, right? If you were listening to them, then this wouldn't have happened, right? Right? So you have to think for yourself, right? You have to think for yourself. And I'm so glad that I did study all that, right? Right? Because I am attracted to that. I am attracted to that, I always joke that I would have been a good wife for a Russian, because that would be the only kind of guy that would be able to keep me under their thumb, right? Because I'm so independent, and I always want to make up my own mind and do my own thing, right? That I'm so independent that I don't listen. I follow what I resonate with, right? But I allow the other person to resonate too. But I always joke, right? Like, that would be the only type of person that I would make a good wife for, because I would try to control, right? I would try to make things right. Like, I would run the household, right? So Yeah. Yeah, I just there aren't too many men. Like I had a good relationship with my husband. Like I had a very good relationship with my husband, but we weren't friends. We didn't have a lot of interests, you know. We didn't have many interests at all. It's not like, what we had was, movies on Sundays, right? And other than that, we really didn't have any common. And if I had seen that a little bit earlier, right? And if I had done a little bit of work on myself, right? Because I didn't go into that relationship emotionally healthy, right? I went into that relationship, with the whole fairy tale in my brain, right? I was just going to be living my fairy tale, and I didn't look for any flaws or any kinks in the suit, right? And until it crept up on me and took me by surprise, right? you know yeah, so marriages and relationships and moving in with people, and jumping into things like that, it's people go for the sexual part of it, that attraction, that physical attraction part of it. But you gotta see about that compatibility, right? Your living lifestyle, your the way you think, your pastimes, what you do with your pastimes, right? Your what you how you want to interact with other people, whether or not you want to travel the world. Like, these are things that you need to consider when you go into relationships, right? Not just to have somebody fill up that lonely spot that you have, right? Or or somebody who can cook you dinner, right? Like, these are important things to consider, right? If I were to do it again, like to marry someone, that person would definitely have a good job. That person would have want to have spend some time with me to have good conversations, to want to be my friend, like have same interests, have good conversations. Yeah, it's just wanted to make sure that you have people in your life that you have the same interests, right? It's important that you have the same interests, because otherwise you're going to just live your life, and you're just going to try and please other people, and you're going to end up living a life that isn't yours, that actually belongs to somebody else, right? And I've done that many, many times over the course of my life. And if I'm a little bit cautious right now, then so be it, right? This is different. I'm going into this differently. I'm going into this to do this right, to do it the way it should have done the first time, right? And I got to make the right decisions on that, right? I don't know where any of this is going. I just have a pull for it, and I'm enjoying myself, and I'm making friends, right? you know and at the same time, like, everybody has been with me here, like, you're all moving, everybody's moving forward, like, even just inches, like, every single one is moving forward. So yeah, like, you can't get anything better than that. You can't hope for anything better than that, right? Yeah, Andrew, you might be just like me too, right? You might be so used to being on your own that, I did have a roommate, my girlfriend Crystal, in she lives in BC now, right? But I really enjoyed living with Crystal. She was a very, very good roommate. I don't know if I ever told her that she was a good, as roommates go, right? Because I was probably not somebody that really wanted a roommate, but it was probably somebody who needed it, because, I wanted my money to go for things, for adventures, for experiencing life, right? And life cost a little bit of money, and I needed that money not to go towards just putting a roof over my head. I wanted to enjoy my life too. Poughkeepsie? I wouldn't know how to pronounce that. Yeah, it's about communicating, Andrew, when you make these decisions. Because see, that would be a big decision, right? Taking on a roommate, especially after living on your own so long, right? But at the same time, right, you're gonna have to consider the roommate. Like, I've never heard you mention any pets, Andrew. What if this person has a dog or cats or, bad habits, right? Like how important is keeping your house absolutely spotless, right? Are you a person who likes to do your cleaning as you make a mess, or do you clean at the end of the night, or do you like to clean the next morning? Or maybe you're a person who likes to just make a mess all week and then once a week go in there and clean up the whole place, right? Like, you have to feel out the right roommates, right? To make sure that they're a good fit for you. But you're right, it is like a marriage, right? It is like a marriage. Yeah. And that's the thing about relationships. No matter how much you want to say that you're just going to go into it and it'll just be natural and just be yourself, and unless it's an absolutely most perfect relationship, there is going to be give and take, right? It's just a matter of what you're willing to give and what you're willing to take, right? Yeah, but roommates would be, I thought of it too. Like, I could run a drape across the dining room and say, okay, I'm going to rent out my bedroom, right? And they can have use of the kitchen and the bathroom. I'll run a curtain across the living room. The living room is mine, right? Because my desk is here. I can pull my bed into the living room. There's lots of space, right? I can get rid of the couch. I'll keep the cushions for my car for camping and stuff. I loved it. It just worked out perfect, right? But I'm ready for some normalcy, right? I'm ready too. But I want to stay safe. That's a priority. And if it means, for another month or even if 2 months, right? It means we all need to stay in, then so be it. I'm willing to do it. This is my life. And if you put me back to work, okay, fine. I have to go back to work. If I don't have a choice, I don't have a choice. But I'm going to do absolutely everything not to get sick, right? I'm at that age that it could be dangerous if I get sick, and I'm not going to give it any thought. And I'm just going to say, hey, I'm super healthy. If I get sick, I'm just going to breeze through it. But you heard William, right? It's not picking and choosing, right? It's just divvying out, and it's the luck of the draw who makes it through and who doesn't make it through. Normal is just a setting on your dryer. I like that. That's a good title of a book. That's a really good title. That's a really good title for a book. My whole house is my special room. Nothing special. I like my art wall, right? But I haven't added to my wall. I haven't added a piece in over a year. I have an Eaton's painting that I was my last piece that I picked up. Um, when Eaton's the store was there, and they would hire painters, and they would sit and they would paint, great big paintings, and it was very common, right? And they would sell them in the Eaton store, and they were well sought after for big living room pictures and stuff. And yeah, I got a good deal on a nice painting, and it was an old homestead, so of course I grabbed it, right? So I'm happy to do that. And then yeah, then I came across a print of Quebec. I think that's actually my newest one, was that print that I found, and I was happy to find that. But other than that, I haven't bought any art in the longest time, right? Yeah, I would like to start maybe doing bronzes. Oh, I saw this beautiful wood, Japanese carved wood piece, right? It was like a villager, like an old man villager, and his dog and a pet bird or something, and it was done on a intertwined log, like an old log from a bonsai tree, right? And it might have been about 2.5, 3 feet high, and it was just absolutely just gorgeous, right? And he had a staff, and he had a snake going up the staff and everything, and he had his little Japanese hat and everything. Oh, it was such a beautiful piece, and it's still sitting there, but I'm sure they want over 1,000 for it. But like conversation pieces like that, like one of a kind pieces, because it was made out of a piece of driftwood or something, right? But it was just like a piece of spectacular art that is just one of a kind, nowhere's in the world, right? And yeah, if I ever make it big, I'll walk by that store and see if it's there, and I'll buy it for myself there. We have a little antique store just by my house here, right? And yeah, every time I walk by it, I go to 7-Eleven or something, I walk by it, and I stand there and I stare in the window at all the antique dishes and all the antique ornaments and stuff, right? And yeah, I like the statues. And I like alabaster too. I would love to do like a white and silver alabaster bathroom for my sister, right? With a great big bathtub, one of those walk-in bathtubs with the doors, right? That would be good for her because she's suffering with the aches and pains now. That would be good for her to just be able to sit in her bathtub like that, just to walk in, shut the door, and sit in her chair and just enjoy her bath that way. And you can still have the water up to your neck. It's just a little small square, right? You're just sitting inside a box having your shower instead. They look super comfortable. Mm. But I had that idea this week. What a great idea for seniors where their husbands have passed away or something, and their kids have moved out for the longest time. They have these great big houses, and they're going, oh, do I move into a home, right? Do I move into a home? And instead of moving into a home, why not put an ad in the paper for roommates, right? You could put roommates even different ages if you wanted to get, some different personalities in your household. Or, you could ask for like five seniors. You have 5 bedrooms, right? Like get 5 roommates, all the same age, to move in, right? Your house is furnished. They could have a nice big backyard, right? What a nice little community you could build for yourself, right? You could actually do interviews through the application process and just find the perfect people. And then you don't have to move into an old folks home, because then there's people around to help take care of you, right? You don't need much, right? Maybe your problem is you can't reach the third shelf in the kitchen, right? But somebody else can't bend down to tie their shoes, right? And then you can do that for them. It's just about give and take. Everything is all about that, right? And then you could have your own community, right? Make it a tight community. Everybody fill in everybody's gaps, right? What you're weak at, somebody else is really good at. If you don't like washing dishes, somebody else likes washing dishes, right? Somebody likes gardening, somebody doesn't like gardening, somebody likes to go grocery shopping, somebody doesn't like to go, right? Right? And then you could have more of the life that you want, rather than having to have a life just because you got to put a roof over your head, right? Okay, you guys, start yapping. Let's see what's going on here with all you guys, right? But yeah, William, I'm sorry to hear about all those people in your congregation, right? Like I can see that how busy you are, but I'm sure you're like a pillar. I'm sure you're like a pillar for everybody, right? Yeah, my sister, she did today. It's just, you know, I don't know what it is. It's something. It's something. It's strange the way it is, right? And she knows it is too. She knows it doesn't make sense that she comes off a little off, right? But yeah, she was just giving me heck today for not being out there looking for work. and then oh, what was the other one? It was something to do with what you were saying there. Oh, about the housing and that I should get into the low income housing and I'm going, well, then I wouldn't get any benefits. That wouldn't help me out, and the price wouldn't be the same because I might as well just go on, rent assist instead, and then I could get a little bit to help pay the rent, and then I could, because I don't, I'm not sure if I would want to go into one of those 55 plus because, then that would make me feel like I was older. Like I don't feel like I'm even in my 50s, right? Here I am thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm starting a career and stuff. And I'm going, people your age are retiring, Cindy. And here you are, you're so anxious to get right back into it. Like, what's going on with you, Cindy? Like, slow down, right? Like you're right. But it is what it is. And and I'm having fun, right? Like I wouldn't be doing any of this if I wasn't enjoying myself. It's just unfortunate, like there is bad things going on, right? But something bad could have happened no matter what. If it wasn't that, it might have been something else, right? Oh, William. Well, maybe that's your new roommate then. Like, can't you go and talk to him and see if maybe, you would make a good roommate for him, right? Yeah, it's hard, right? Because I have been in that situation where you do anything to get out of the situation that you're in, right? I remember mooching off my friends and mooching off my sisters, right? And I regret it. I regret it now. And then as things go, you always try to make up and do nice things in return, right? To kind of even out the score, at least if you had any sense of what do you call that? Morals, manners, self-respect, or respect for others. Have you talked to him about it, William? Have you talked to him about it, or have you just been thinking about it? Maybe it's time to sit down and have a conversation with him about it, right? If you sat down with him. But yeah, that's a tough one, right? But it's nice that you're looking out for them, right? But it would be nice if you could get that information across to them somehow, right? Hmm. Look at me. It's getting dark already and I haven't even takes a second to adjust. It'll go down in a second. It's my little remote control to turn my lighting on, right? I didn't even notice it was starting to get dark, right? I was just noticing it. But yeah, I guess we'll have some leaves on the trees. I think next week I can see the buds are turning green now, right? So there'll be leaves, I think, within the week. And once those branches fill out, I'll take you guys outside and show you what a beautiful street I live on, like with beautiful elm tunnels. I actually want to take at their highest. And what I'll do is every year on that date, I will take a picture of the same elm tunnel and we can watch the changes, right? Because the elms are dying, right? So we can watch over the next decade, how the trees are doing. It is a very yellow light, isn't it? It's a very yellow light. You wouldn't have noticed how yellow it was, but you saw how light it was when I didn't have the light on, right? Yeah, it's the smell, Andrew. I just love the smell of the trees right now. I just love the way everything smells right now. Just when it rains, right? You go outside and you go for a walk. I just love the way that everything smells. And I can't wait for it to warm up just a little bit so I can take my shoes off and go for a walk, right? Even if it's just in the schoolyard, right? It'll be nice just to, get my feet on the ground a little bit, right? That could be it too. I've been, because I've only been going out a couple of times a week, for a bike ride. Like I think maybe tonight I might go for a walk and grab a cup of coffee. I just might go and grab a cup of coffee tonight just for a treat, just to feel like a human being, right? Just to feel like a human being. Yeah. I mean, I could be in my pajamas, right? I could be in my pajamas all day. Who here is staying in their pajamas all day now, right? Like, is everybody getting up and getting ready for their days, even if they're not going for work and stuff like that? Is still everybody getting ready for their days? I hope so. And thank you so much for the thumbs up. I noticed that, you guys, like when you guys come in here, that you don't even wait for the end of the live. You just give me my thumbs up right away. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you. I just wanted you guys to know that I do notice when I see you guys do that, right? Yeah, I actually had the air conditioner on yesterday to cool off the house, right? I didn't have the oven on, but it did get warm in here. And because the cat likes to be sitting up, and the cat likes to be sitting in the window, right? So I'm going to have to shut the windows now when I turn the air conditioner on, because it'll take a couple of days for the house to cool off once I got the air conditioner on. But then I feel bad for the cat. I couldn't afford the basket for it. The basket was almost $300. That's the most popular size, right, of that basket. It was called the doggy ride. It was called that was the basket, and it had a special hitch to it, right? And yeah, they're not shipping them to North America, right? Because everybody in Europe this year is going to be taking their bikes outside, right? Because they're really into their bikes in Europe. So they're saving all the baskets, the large, extra large baskets for the people in Europe. They're not going to send them to the States, right? So you can only get the extra, extra large, which is a 20-inch basket. It's a huge, it's for a German Shepherd. Like, I don't need a basket that big, and it would be too bulky. It might interfere with my handles, right? So I needed the 17-inch one, but I couldn't afford it anyway. So I said I was going to rig it, and I keep putting parts and stuff that I come across, ideas, right? Like I go, oh, that might work, and then I go and I grab the part and I throw it on my chair there, and then I stare at it for a few days trying to figure out how I'm going to put it there. Yeah, I got an old wine rack that I was going to throw out, and I went, oh, if I strip this wine rack, this will work well for my base. And it's got the screw holes. If I combine the bars, that I could hook onto the wheels. And yeah. MacGyvering, that's what I do, right? I just MacGyver. See, and I can get those cheap baskets, right? But it won't have a support underneath, right? And because it's a cat, the cat will get motion sickness without a solid base, because in a basket it'll go like this when you're riding the basket, right? It needs a solid base with support underneath so that the cat won't get sick. I'm sure she's going to absolutely love being on the bike once I got that basket. But yeah, she's turning into a little porker. She begs me for treats all day long. Like, she doesn't care. She knows her treats are sitting in the kitchen window waiting for me to go sit there. But she knows if she comes up to me and she starts, jumping in my lap and trying to get on the desk and meowing and doing her little grunts and stuff, that I'll finally feel guilty and go over and get her treats for her, right? And, yeah. Like I said, I don't know what kind of a parent I would have made. I might have just spoiled my kids to absolute death. But on the other end, maybe I would have been like my parents, right? Like, I think I was 12 years old and I was given a roof over my head, but that was all I was given. I was expected to give $100 a month for groceries and $200 a month for rent. I think it was $100 for rent until I was 18. And then when I turned 18, then it was $200 a month. But since I was 12 years old, right? Like, yeah, I was able to make all my own decisions, right? Like there were certain things that they were strict about, but most things, my dad was very adamant that we all made our own decisions, all of us kids, right? So however we turned out is our own choice, right? But at the same time, yeah, at the same time. But we'll save that for a topic for another day. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know. I think it was, because my parents were low income. I was happy to give them that money, and I was making good money, right? I was making, over $100 a week just in one job. And I remember I had a part-time job at the same time, and I was doing other little enterprises on the side, right? But just in that one babysitting job that I was making $100 every weekend, like since I was 12 years old, right until I was like, I kept it right until I was 17. And I think when I was 17, um, uh, yeah, I wanted to quit, and she wasn't happy about it, and she blew up on me, and then I just quit, because that's what I wanted to do. Was I wanted to quit anyway, so I just used the fact that she blew up on me to quit. But then she got my dad to convince me to go back and work for her, right? And then just like even picking me up to go drive to take me to her house, she goes, "I don't even know why I hired you back. I shouldn't have hired you back." And then we got to the bus, the stoplight. I think the light turned red, and I just got out of the car, shut the car door, and I walked home, right? I was gonna have none of that. None of that. I had enough, and I was good, and I was cheap labor for her too, right? Like she wouldn't have got the deal she did. It was only because I was a kid, right, that she was able to get that deal. But yeah, I didn't know that you weren't allowed to charge kids. But I think it was my parents trying to teach me about responsibility. No, it wasn't about them teaching about responsibility. It was about they needed the money, right? My parents didn't have a lot of money, and I think $300 would have paid for the groceries for the whole family, right? Would have paid for the groceries for the whole family for that month, right? So that money that I gave them was important. I don't think it had anything to do with teaching me about money or anything, because my parents didn't even so much as take me down to open up a bank account or anything, because that was all stuff. If we wanted a bank account, that was something we were going to learn on our own, right? Like, yeah, like, my dad was happy to teach us stuff about nature and how things worked and stuff like that. But yeah, when it came to decisions, yeah, my parents were all about us making our own decisions. Unless we were in the house, yeah, then you were in your room at 7 o'clock. Okay, everybody, that's my live tonight. I hope everybody's having a good week, and I hope and Andrew, that I'm good to hear that for such a big city that you're not hearing about those illnesses too much. And William, yeah, you keep up that great work, right? You're doing some great service to people right now. You're holding people up, right? You're holding people up, and yeah. And happy birthday, Owen. Happy 61st birthday. That's a big one, right? And another year, and yeah, I'll be in my 60s too, right? That doesn't happen in my family. I think I'm probably the oldest besides my mother, right? My mother lived to be 72 years old, but it's very rare on my dad's side. Nobody ever lived to be past it into their 50s. Nobody lived to be in their 50s, right? Okay, everybody. Happy birthday again, Owen. Have a great week. And yeah, next week it was Andrew's birthday, right? Is that what you said, Andrew, next week? Okay, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.